MomentsRadio.com presents Republican slogans you can believe in. Today's slogan, Republicans, rigging primaries for as long as we can remember. Just ask Charlie Crist.
Welcome back to Momentum Radio. My name is Ray, America's Loose Cannon, but we're also a homegrown show here. I'm Orlando's Loose Cannon. I'm glad that you're along for the ride. Homebrewed show right here in Orlando. Glad that you're with us. Talking about Joel Hunter, who's the pastor of Northland Church Distributed. He's a member of Obama's Council on Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. I did not make clear to you something that I do want to make clear. And this is important that you get this. I have a lot of respect for Joel Hunter. I have a lot of disagreement with Joel Hunter, but I have a lot of respect for Joel Hunter, and you should respect him too. He is a man who has paid his dues, is well deserved of your respect, but there is something that he is not deserving of. And I'm going to tell you what that is in just a moment. We just got done talking about the redistribution of wealth, how he believes that the feds should get involved in health care if the state and the churches don't do their job. I told you I disagree with that position. The feds should never get involved, according to the Founding Fathers. And I told you, and this is also important before the break, the difference between the fact that the government can take money and build roads and everybody can use those, and the government taking money and then giving people health care, is that the roads don't happen at the end of a gun. People can choose whether they use the roads, and people can choose whether or not they want to be a part of the people that build the roads. If you don't get your health care, that is at the end of a gun. It is in the bill. You can go to jail if you don't take the health care. Period. Period. So what happens if you don't want to go to jail? They pull a gun out. It is at the end of a gun, and that is the most important difference. I want you to hear this next piece of audio from Hunter talking about tranquility. This is important. Take a listen.
The point to this is that building health together is more important than building roads together, and it's much more morally compelling. And so I see health care as a joint venture, not only because it provides for the domestic tranquility and it provides for the general welfare.
Okay. He says it provides for the general tranquility. I don't have time to go into the whole story with you, but the bottom line is this. That whole concept of domestic tranquility came from something called the Shays Rebellion back in the 1700s, shortly after the Tea Parties and getting the Constitution, all these other things that happened. After all this stuff came together and we got our Constitution, some people still were very heavy-handed and felt that what should happen in the country is we should sort of stay on alert, which is true. And anytime anything even remotely resembled a tax increase, they went nuts. And specifically, this guy, Daniel Shays. And the feds needed a way to quell unnecessary and ridiculous rebellions. That was the domestic tranquility that they were talking about. That is what they meant. Not what he's talking about domestic tranquility. You don't create domestic tranquility by creating a multi-trillion-dollar plan that bilks people out of their money, forces them to use it at the end of a gun, and if you don't want it, you're going to go to jail. What the hell kind of tranquility is that? That's not tranquility, and besides, he's using it out of context. This is the guy who went to school, according to what he told me, specifically to learn about government. Who specifically understands, according to him, what happened under Hitler with the Nazis, the death camps, and how they did things there. Who specifically says he understands the Weimar Republic. Okay, so I don't think the guy gets it. We just can't throw terms around like that. But there's something I want you to hear in Obama's own words. Remember, Hunter has said this is not about the redistribution of wealth, and this is not the only time Hunter is unaware of something that Obama has said or believes in. Listen to this.
The Supreme Court never ventured into the issues of redistribution of wealth. The tragedies of the civil rights movement was because the civil rights movement became so court-focused. I think that there was a tendency to lose track of the political and community organizing and activities on the ground that are able to put together the actual coalitions of power through which you bring about redistributive change.
That's 2001, Obama on NPR. This man believes in redistribution of wealth. Joel Hunter has no idea that he believes in redistribution of wealth, or he denies it, one of the two. The third point that I want you to catch is the relevance of the founders for Joel Hunter. I want you to hear this piece this piece of this excerpt from Joel Hunter about the relevance of the founders in our Constitution?
I don't expect the founding fathers in 1787 to foresee what we need today. You know, for example, in 1787 it said provide for the common defense. Well, there wasn't anything about the Air Force in there, but they can't foresee what might be more effective in that than simply what they could name at the time.
Okay, it doesn't get more out of touch than that. Essentially, what he's saying is there's just things they couldn't have predicted. This is a man who studied the Constitution, apparently. Studied, according to him, government, specifically American government. Gang, if you don't catch this concept I'm about to tell you, you're not going to be able to fight this argument either. The purpose of the Constitution was simple. And I'm going to tell you what it was in a moment. This is why the Constitution is timeless. This is why the Constitution, until Jesus comes back, no apologies to anybody that doesn't believe in him, because I do, and I ain't stopping you from believing what you believe. Until Jesus comes back, the Constitution is the most important document, next to the Bible, that we have on the planet. I believe it is a God-breathed document. Now, it's not a Bible, and it's not something that we, whatever. But it is the most important document on the planet next to the Bible, because it is the document that, and get this, secures our rights. The Constitution, gang, was about one thing. These are the words of the founders. Are you ready? To chain down our leaders. To prevent huge government bureaucracies. And listen to this. This is the words of the founders. To keep government, are you ready? Here's the word. Cheap. That's their word. To keep government cheap. How does government get expensive? When the government starts delving into programs they have no business to do. The founder said this is Franklin, the best way to take care of the poor and the needy is to kick them out of their poverty, make them uncomfortable in it, and that will kick them out of it. Now, he's a pastor. His job isn't to do that. His job is to go and take care of the needy. Franklin was addressing the government. The Constitution is timeless because its purpose is to chain down leaders. How does it do that? The whole thing with the Constitution is it addresses human nature. Get that, gang. The Constitution's purpose was to address human nature. That is the purpose of the Constitution, to address human nature. As far as you know, has human nature ever, in the history of mankind, ever changed? No. So as long as human nature never changes, neither will the Constitution or its viability. This is why it's not a living document. This is why it's not a flowing document. This is why the Constitution is a document that the entire purpose of it is to chain down your leaders. But for him, apparently, it's movable. Now, I would love to have him back on the show, but after we got done with the interview, perhaps because I'm a moron, who knows the reason, he said, no, I don't have time for all this, I'm a pastor, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's move to the next point. This is point number 4. I want to...